themselves.
A lot of people are asking why this happened. A lot of clues may come from where the brothers actually are from. It's a province right next to Chechnya. Joining us now, USF professor, I should say, excuse me, Dr. Daryl Slider. He's here to talk more about the area and the terrorism that's connected to the area. And I guess let's start with the area itself. It's a hotbed for Islamic militants, isn't it?
It's the most unstable region in Russia, the North Caucasus generally, and it's made up of republics that are different ethnically than Russia is. They speak different languages, and they are mostly Muslim.
Yeah, 90% Muslim. How did it get to this point, though, where we see such hatred? Because there's been some incidents in Russia which are just brutal.
Well, there's a long history of Chechens seeking autonomy, independence from Russia, and probably the event that most affected Chechens was Stalin's deportation of the entire country, the entire people sent to Central Asia. And apparently the family of these two young men were part of that refugee exile that ended up in Central Asia.
How does that deep-seated hatred, though, for Russia translate and move over here?
Probably through radicalization that is a result of not solving the problem. I would say that Russia has mishandled the Chechen problem all along. Their solution has been repression, brutality. They've attempted to force those who believe in Islam into an officially approved state form of Islam. And the result is that many young people, in fact, have been forced underground. And so that you get this kind of movement of almost homegrown religious sects within the North Caucasus.
Well, it's a religious fanaticism, and we see it in Afghanistan, we see it in Syria, we see it in Yemen. They're on the front lines everywhere when it comes to this Islamic extremism. So now that has come to our shores. How do we deal with that? Do we have to deal with Russia first, or do we deal directly with Chechnya?
Well, we have to deal with Russia. And I think the problem is Russia doesn't really accept the idea that they need to deal with the problem some other way, that I think they do analytically understand that it requires economic development, but they can't pull it off. And they refuse outside assistance because they're convinced that outsiders are actually trying to stoke that problem, so that, because Russian leaders, frankly, they believe that the United States and Western Europe, they have as their goal the destruction of Russia through the disintegration of Russia.
So this still stems from the fact that the United States, Russia, and let's bring China into this, three superpowers, we still don't get along.
And I think it's been internalized so much in the Russian elite, particularly Putin and his generation, that it's very hard for them to accept that there is any good intention that would actually help Russia.
Where do we go from here? Any thoughts?
Well, we need, of course, much more information about what actually happened here. Was the brother somehow linked to groups within Dagestan?
Well, he was there for 6 months last year.
And that's where his parents live today. And that, more than Chechnya today, is actually the source of terrorist threat within Russia. But Russia has been so incompetent in dealing with the problem that it's hard to see any way out. The thing that really sticks in my mind is this huge corruption scandal that took place in the last month, where money that was designated to create a resort complex all through the North Caucasus, the money just disappeared.
Yeah, but that's even a foolish thought to begin with.
Right.
To think that you're going to set up a resort
Well, they're having the Olympics next year, less than a year from now, in Sochi, which is within driving distance of Chechnya.
It's amazing to think that some things never change, and you know, the Russian attitude to certain things won't change either. They've had it since Napoleon. They have it now. Doctor, thank you very much for being here. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out and where we go from here.
Right.
Take a look at this picture we want to show you right now. This picture right here we want to share with you. It's of the 3 people killed by the blast and the MIT officer killed in the shootout with the bombing suspects. We shared this picture on our Facebook and Twitter accounts. We're asking that if you would, share it as well. We'll be right back.